All right. Man, can we finally get started here? I am ready to start yapping. I have been fighting with this little live for a minute. How do I undock this? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So if I come into here, click view channel, we are live. Let's go. Why is it so loud though? Can I fix the mic for y'all? Hold on, let me see something real quick. You know, we got to get this thing right. Yep, the mic is good. That's good. Everything looks good. Okay. Alright, I'm just sharing the stream real quick. Get some folks to pop on in. Okay, as soon as I get one person up in here, I'm gonna start yapping. Let me just share it to my IG and then I'm gonna kick it off. Oh, there we go. All right, do a little save function here. You gotta be kidding me right now. Oh, there we go, there we go. All right. Copy link. Post the link. Tap in. We live. What up? Invite some people up in here. We about to get started. Man, I just hope. What up, Mills? Dollar bills, baby. Let's go. Hey, man, I just hope that this recording, you know what I mean, that it helps somebody out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this video, I'm going to take this live video here, and we're going to chop this up into the course content, and I'm just going to provide it for free, basically as a replay, right? And then what we're going to do is, by the way, this is going to be a pretty long one. So I'm going to stop yapping off topic a little bit, but just to give you guys an idea of what this is going to be, it's just going to be a free resource for anybody who joins my Skool community, okay? So if you're inside of the Skool community, you're going to have access to a community of like-minded people who are, you know, not just battling with bad habits and stuff like that, but we're leveling up, okay? There's a couple of different phases that you could use to level up. But first and foremost, it's going to be a removal process. And without this removal process, you're not going to have a clear foundation to be able to build and stack those habits that are going to help you experience success in life, right? So all you have to do in this training right here is literally have an open mind, be honest, be open to challenging your current beliefs. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Be open to challenging what you currently believe about alcohol, and what we do is sell you on the idea of being sober, not punish you for having to drink. And this has nothing to do with fear. So without further ado, I really can't wait to continue on with this. So reprogramming, basically you're looking at a matrix of brainwashing. So by the end of this video, my goal for you guys is literally to help you break free from societal brainwashing. By the way, Mills, if you're still in here, brother, can you tell me, is this mic good enough? Like, is the audio okay? Before I just keep going on, I'd hate to do a lot of content and the audio is just like unbearable. Like, can somebody confirm in the chat, like, is the audio okay? Do I need to speak louder? Do I need to turn this microphone up? Anybody in the chat? I mean, I guess I could just mute my mic real quick and turn it up on live to find out. Nope, sounds great. So we're just gonna keep it rolling. All right, let's get it. So yeah, by the end of this, guys, I want you to be able to break free from societal brainwashing. Let me make sure that this works here. I want you to be able to regain control of your life, not just your life, guys, but the decisions that you make. I want them to be your decisions. And this is all going to be done without the need of willpower. We're going to reframe your guys' mind on what it takes, right, to become crystal clear with Rick's pun there and have that clarity that you guys need, right? So it's going to be without willpower, without AA, without feeling of withdrawal or feeling deprived, no guilt, no shame, no regret, no repeating those cycles over and over. By the way, did y'all hear Kendrick's new album? Crispy. It's fire, okay? Anyways, here's my ADHD popping off. The rules. There are going to be some rules, okay? Now, if you're reading the book, Alan Carr's book, it's called The Easy Way to Control Alcohol. You can read the book and listen to the book, or if you're taking my course in my Skool community, guys, you have to follow the instructions. That's rule number one. Follow all the instructions. Now, the instructions will be laid out at the very end of this, but I promise you guys, it's going to change your life, okay? Don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun on any of this. Challenge your beliefs. Don't quit while you read this or while you're ingesting the course, while you guys are watching this content. Do not quit drinking alcohol. Don't even consider trying to quit drinking right now. I need you guys to literally be focused, but don't drink while you consume the content. Does that make sense? Like, don't be effed up while you're reading, because you're just not going to retain it. You're going to give all of that data back, right? Stay in a positive mindset. Like, what do you have to lose while we go through this? You literally have nothing to lose. In fact, you have the opposite. You have everything to gain. You have clarity to gain. You have your life back to gain. And it's easy to get into a negative mindset, but when you shift your mindset into a more positive state of mind, it just helps open your mind up and be a little more malleable so that you'll be open to some of the suggestions that you're getting ready to see, okay? The next instruction, literally the most difficult instruction, keep an open mind, right? We just talked about that. So staying in a positive mindset is going to help you incubate your mindset to keeping an open mind. This is the framework for the reversing of the program. This is the framework for you guys to break free from what they call the matrix or them or the government, whatever you want to call it, okay? It's literally just programming. I'm going to teach you guys how to hijack your mind, literally. So if you've made it this far in the presentation, and even to be in the community, right? If you guys are watching this in the community, it says a lot about who you are. And it says that you're just trying to be an open-minded person to begin with. So I don't have anything to worry about you guys. You guys are here right now, and I'm assuming you have an open mind, right? So be honest, again, you know, be open to challenging your beliefs and all that good stuff, right? So module 1 is, are you an alcoholic? I don't know. There's two sides to this coin, though. So the mainstream belief, and right here the narrative is going to be identity, right? Am I an alcoholic? Am I? That's a powerful statement. Am I an alcoholic? Most people believe that a man who can go 20 years without touching alcohol is still an alcoholic. Like, you went 20 years, but you still say, dude, I can't go near that. I can't touch that because I am an alcoholic, right? They think that their genetic is flawed or that they have some kind of special susceptibility to becoming an alcoholic, okay? The other side of that coin is going to be Jimmy, who goes out on the weekends and just gets blacked out drunk, right? Or your Aunt Charlotte, who has a glass of wine every single night, her whole entire life, the past 30, 40 years, and every night she drinks, but she doesn't go too crazy. That's the other side of the coin. But she's not an alcoholic? You see what I'm saying? So, like, make it make sense. So there's kind of two sides of this coin when we talk about identity, right? Don't consider yourself an alcoholic. These are just labels. These are the things that help programming stick into your mind. So rather say, I lost control, okay? So think, this is a think session. I want you guys to think about the last time you realized that you lost control. Have you ever sat back and wondered, how come it's not that clear to me that I don't know when I lost control of alcohol, or I don't know when I began to like alcohol? And could that possibly be because you were never in control to begin with? So control from this vantage point is not binary. It's not yes, it's not a no answer. It's more like a sliding scale. So think polarity shift, right? A genius trap, the nature's pitcher plant. So Carr talks about basically a trap that's a pitcher plant. If you guys are familiar with the Venus flytrap, it's an analogy. The flies love this Venus flytrap, or the pitcher plant rather. It's got this very pungent smell that flies love. It smells sweet, and it appears to be free, like the nectar inside of this little pitcher tube right here is just piled up at the bottom of it, right? So the flies, flying around the jungle, smell something sweet inside this little plant, says, hey dude, this smells good, it looks free, there's no appearing to be danger in here. I think I'll just step in a little bit, give it a little shot, give it a little taste, a little something. And so it's designed for the fly to get its feet wet, right? Just to step in, the first step, okay? And what it does is it starts sliding down towards the bottom where the nectar's at in the bottom, okay? I want you guys to pay attention. It turns out that the nectar's not really free, okay? The fly is actually the guest inside of the nectar, or rather the pitcher plant, and it becomes the food, right? So the fly sees like half dead fly bodies inside of the pitcher plant, and it's thinking, dude, that's not gonna be me. I'm not about to get eaten up by this plant. I'm out of here, right? But then it goes to fly away, and it's so bloated it can't even fly away. Its feet are so sticky inside of the nectar that it can't even get the lift off it needs to escape, and by then it is too late, okay? Have you ever said, like, I drunk too much and I'm done drinking, but when you think you're in the clear, it hits, and now you're done. You're like, dude, I can't drink anymore. So also, why hasn't grandma slid down the pitcher plant as well? Or Auntie Charlotte, how come she hasn't appeared to be sliding down that same process? So sometimes these people can remember how gross the beer tasted from when the first time is that we tried it, right? But the truth is, the fly was never in control, because once it smelt the nectar and the moment it began flying towards that pitcher plant, it was a wrap for the fly. The fly had no choice, okay? So we're brainwashed to believe that strong men, right, these masculine men, that they drink and they're always able to control their alcohol, and that it's really good. It tastes really good, and everyone else is already drinking it, right? And think about all the commercials you guys see on TV, and like the man with the whiskey on the rocks and all that. So this is the trap. It's literally the brainwashing. So, like, think about it, guys. If you see a teenager on the street and they're smoking their first cigarette and they're coughing up a lung, like hacking on the side of the road, do you stop and tell them, like, hey man, you almost got it, bud. Like, keep trying, keep smoking, dude. You're gonna get the hang of it, right? No, you don't say that. That just sounds absurd. It sounds crazy. So the point, so why do we do that same thing with alcohol? You know what I mean? Like, how come we do the same exact thing when people try alcohol for the first time? So the point that it tastes disgusting is another part of the trap. Pay attention to this, guys. The taste of alcohol is so repelling when you first try it that it's literally a part of the trap. It's designed. It's an ingenious trap, okay? Because when we taste it, the first thing we think is there's no way in hell I'm going to keep drinking this shit. There's just no way I could get addicted to something like this. I don't have it in me. I remember my first thoughts. I'm like, there's no way. Oh, hell no, I ain't drinking this, okay? So another method in the book that we're going to discuss is called the prisoner and the warden, okay? So imagine that you're in a prison and you've been locked away for 25 years. And a doctor comes in and says, hey, it's really not good for you to be inside of this prison. It's very unhealthy. Like, it's really damp in here. It's really cold in here. You can't imagine the amount of health problems that you're going to have if you stay in this prison. It's moldy, and you don't know the impact that it's going to have on your family. And the doctor says, look, if you have any sense left, why don't you just leave permanently and not come back, or significantly, reduce the amount of time that you're spending in this prison? Like, how ridiculous does that sound, right? It'd be like, no shit, Sherlock, if I could leave, I would leave, but I'm literally locked down in here, bro. Like, what are you talking about, okay? It sounds like stupid advice, so what experts do is they list all the disadvantages of being in that prison or consuming the alcohol. Right? Does that make sense? So like all the experts are like, oh yeah, don't drink because of this, don't drink because of that. The obvious ones, like the average lifespan of a non-drinker is 20 years longer than someone who drinks. The cost of alcohol is outrageous. I drink a bottle a day, like a $20 bottle of Amsterdam every day, and a 4-pack still of reserves at my worst. You know what I mean? I was doing the bottle and the still reserves at $4.99. So I was spending about $25 a day, $150 a week, $600 a month, almost 10 grand a year just on the damn alcohol. Literally. It kills brain cells. It literally keeps you in a state of depression by altering your dopamine levels. It taps into those. And it is a major cause of depression, right? It is, but it's just more information, guys. And that more information about why you shouldn't drink, it really doesn't help. We all know not to drink. We know these things and what it does to us. So the easy way doesn't use these fear tactics or the reasons that don't mean anything to people that pertain to drinking, okay? So even though you're aware of this prison that we put ourselves in, so we're the jailer and we're the warden, an easy way claims to have the combination to the lock that's going to set you free, because you're the only one that has the power, okay, to do that. So let's say there's a new drug that's called exhilaration, and we're going to talk about shattering illusions here. Don't be fooled by the name exhilaration, guys. It's still a poison. It's highly addictive. It's going to debilitate your immune system. It impedes your concentration. It destroys your nervous system. Like, it takes away courage. It takes away all of your confidence. It takes away your ability to relax. It tastes disgusting and awful. And it's going to cost you $200,000 in your lifetime. That's how much it's going to cost you. So, I mean, what's the trade, right? What do I get from exhilaration? What do I get from it? What is it good for? Absolutely. All right, y'all know what I'm talking about. You ain't going to get nothing from it. That sounds crazy, right? So, why do we do the same thing with alcohol? So maybe you think this is an exaggeration when it comes to alcohol, that you could even compare the two, right? So when people ask, what's your poison? Or pick your poison, it's not rhetorical. Like, if you had a small portion of alcohol, just pure, neat alcohol, you would literally unalive yourself for drinking it. It's literally poison. And does it taste awful? Absolutely. Have a little bit of alcohol and see for yourself. Just pure alcohol and taste it. It's so disgusting, like moonshine, right? Will it cost 200 grand? Well, dude, do the math. Before and after the DUIs, the lawyer fees, the hospital bills, the medications you're probably going to be on because you're constantly dehydrating yourself and murdering your brain cells, like literally. Is it highly addictive? Look, 9 out of 10 people, and I'm not bullshit, 9 out of 10 people that are literally dependent on alcohol, okay? So, Carr talks about like a time machine, right? as we get older, we don't really notice that we get older until we look at like an older photo of ourselves. And the same thing happens when we talk about personal development and its opposite, right? Because you're either growing or dying. You're coming or going. You know what I mean? So if you woke up in a time machine 30 years after you started the habit of drinking alcohol, you would rush yourself to the hospital. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, there's a life that you could have, literally. And so what he talks about is if he could put you in a time machine and show you in just a few months, and guys, it's literally like honestly like a couple of weeks, but a few months of not consuming alcohol, you would just look and feel so much better. You would feel amazing. You would have a better quality of life. Your self-confidence would be there. You'd have more self-respect because of the decisions that you make on a daily basis. And you would have more clarity, and obviously, guys, you'd have more money. I mean, just think about the stats I just gave you. That's an extra 10K that I was able to pocket literally just by, stop buying alcohol, quit drinking alcohol. So use your imagination with this, right? So this is part of the power of programming. The ability to use our imagination, and the power of the mind is not a joke, right? If there was nothing you could do about it, you would be better off burying your head in the sand. But there is something that we can do about it. Right? So I just want to talk about brainwashing a little bit here, and the common programming myths. So here's a couple of common myths when we were kids or just a little bit younger, right? That alcohol tastes good. Okay, it quenches the thirst. It gives you confidence and courage. It's the mature thing to do. Like, you're hanging out with your friends and like, you're the one with the whiskey on the rocks. It's very mature. It eases pain, etc., etc. It helps me sleep. That's a big one. I know a lot of people that, yeah, man, I had a little shot last night. I get up in the middle of the night and I take a shot and it puts me back to bed. I'm like, okay, does it? So let me ask you, can you remember the last time that you got a full night of like quality rest? Like, I like people who got the sleep aura rings on. They're like tracking their sleep. I don't do all that. But I tend to know if I wake up and I'm bursting with energy, right? Do you ever look forward to another exciting day on the planet, even if it's on a Monday, right? Even if it's Monday tomorrow and you just wake up so enthusiastic about the day. Do you remember the last time that you were able to feel that way? I know that like in the book, Alan Carr's point of view, his favorite part of the week before he was able to stop drinking alcohol and escaping this prison and this trap was literally sleeping in every Sunday, just kind of dealing with the hangover in the Saturday. So he would think like, how the hell am I going to get through another week? And damn, tomorrow's already Monday. Like that is just, his weekend's gone. And then he dreads the whole week, and it's just a cyclical, toxic cycle that is on repeat over and over. So the biggest reason to quit or to start cutting down, it's not, that it's killing you and all the negative things from before, but more so that you're going to enjoy life so much more by quitting or cutting down this alcohol. And so research actually shows that our brain and body are this incredible resilient machine, right? And so we possess this sophisticated early warning system that is innate inside of all of us when we're born. That if we drink too much, we're going to throw up to dispel the toxins. Or that if we did drink too much previously the night before, the next morning we're going to pay for it surely, and we certainly shouldn't do that again. Like, we should not be doing this drinking again. That's why you get the hangover the next day. It's our sophisticated early warning system, right? And you're going to feel hazy and foggy, that feeling all day. I used to wake up with a haze in my eyes, and I was like, dude, what is this? Like, this is just weird. I got to chill out or something. Like, it was really going downhill for me for a minute there. But you're just going to feel so much better if we don't drink. And our system knows that. Like, it does. So how the hell did we even fall in this trap to begin with? Guys, feel free to drop some questions in this chat too. I'm live with it. So this isn't a pre-recorded thing or nothing like this. This is a live training here. So yeah, how the hell did we fall into this trap? Everyone's going to be a little different in this aspect. But typically you start messing around at parties in childhood. You sip a little beer here, you sip a little beer there, something like that. And then most of us get rebellious in our teenage years. I got something crazy I'm going to tell you guys right now. My probably so my first beer was my dad. Like my dad gave me a little sip of a beer when we went to a pool. I'm not gonna say my age, but my first whole beer, Mills. You might, dude. You're gonna laugh, right? I hope Colin's not on here, your pops. But dude, I got 25 Mills in the chat, right? That's my little cousin. It was actually Colin. I stole 2 of his Bud Lights, dude, and I started drinking them. That's hilarious that he's in the chat. He's tapped in though. But hey, constant elevation, baby. Let's get it. So early childhood is oftentimes more stressful typically than adults and adolescents, but somehow we still manage to cope without alcohol, right? As we grow older, we tend to depend more on alcohol and substances to get us through the days. And that's caffeine, alcohol, sugar, nicotine, whatever it is. We just tend to depend more in our adult years on these external substances, right? So when you observe children without the need of alcohol, they are often shy and they're lighthearted at first, but then later on in the day, they're screaming with delight and joy, right? Without the need of alcohol. They don't need alcohol. They're just screaming like, "Look at my new friend." So if you compare that to adults, they might be a little lighthearted at first, and then they need all the booze, man. They just need to drink. They're like, "Man, I just need to get some of this alcohol in my system. I'm gonna turn up on them. We're gonna get lit." Okay. So when we were a kid, we didn't need alcohol to have courage and confidence to meet people or to have fun. What the alcohol does is it actually takes that from us. It takes us and strips us and robs us of our confidence, and it robs us of our courage. And I want you guys to think, like when you first started drinking, you kind of mix the drinks like vodka and Sprite or gin and juice or peanut butter screwball, fireballs, whatever it is, whatever your poison was. So as we start to mature with alcohol, it's kind of funny because we feel like, hey man, those are kids' drinks. You know what I mean? Like those are just drinks for girls or something like that. Them little mixed drinks, right? So maybe we go drinking it neat over the rocks or going for just straight beer. Whatever your story is about drinking, you're only going one way down the pitcher plant. Whatever you're telling yourself about alcohol, you're still going down the pitcher plant, okay? And so this is where most people have that critical moment. And I'm going to ask you guys, even if this is live, but if you need to pause the video, I want you to think, like, when was your critical moment? Usually the only time where it's possible to cut down or quit alcohol is when there was a critical moment or time in your life that interrupted your programming, right? That shifted your matrix. And so these people now have 2 problems, right? So something really bad happened, something really big happened to them. And so now they're going to be faced with 2 problems. The first problem is when you're taking the alcohol, you feel guilty and you feel miserable for drinking it because dude, man, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not where I need to be in life right now. How am I drinking? I had a goal to make 10,000. I had a goal to make 100,000. I had a goal to lose this weight. How am I drinking right now? You feel that guilt and that shame. The second problem, guys, is literally when you're not taking the alcohol, right? So it's a double-edged sword. You feel deprived and you feel miserable. You feel like you're sacrificing something. You're giving something up. So what does everybody do at this point? They use the willpower method to try to cut down or quit. The willpower method is the suggestion that all it takes is a little bit of willpower to abstain. That's it. It's kind of similar to the childlike tantrum of not getting what they want, where the kid who really wants something is going to persist by putting up a fight, right? Versus the kid who really doesn't put up a fight. And so this kid is actually strong-willed because he puts up a fight to get what he wants. So think about this for a minute, guys. Most people that become addicts are strong-willed people. I consider addicts superheroes. I truly do, because I alchemize the word addiction into obsession. Where if you deprive yourself of alcohol, it's actually the strong-willed person who's more likely to get what they want and overcome that will and get the alcohol that they want, right? It ingrains in our mind that we cannot succeed because you think you're sacrificing something big. That brings us to the next point here, which is the tug of war between the two. The fact that we use the expression give up, I have to give up, it makes us think that we're sacrificing something. It's like the tug of war where on one side you feel this need to control and give up, and on the other side it's the thing that, man, you're going to be missing out if you do give this thing up. So when we stop using the willpower method, you can actually begin with a feeling of elation and excitement. So this stuff is like it starts to really rewire our conscience, and more or less it rewires the subconscious as well, right? So in the book it also talks about reasons versus excuses. And so one big reason that it's hard to break the cycle is that you're dealing with literal schizophrenia, okay? If you have any kind of reliance or dependence on this, your brain has a way of manipulating your decisions that you're making and making yourself delusional about that drug. And I have a basically it's a course in my mind that we're going to create. It's called Ingestion is Possession, and it talks about how your brain literally gets hijacked by anything that you consume, either physically, spiritually, or mentally. Like literally, ingestion is possession, right? And so not only are people drinking with their glass of wine with their meal, but they're enthusiastic over the quality of the wines, right? These are the people who have like, they got a glass of wine, like shaking it around, you know, they're looking at it, they're drinking it, they're spitting it out. They're like, oh yeah, this wine is exquisite. How delusional are these people? Remember when we just talked about your first sip of alcohol, you literally were like, dude, there's no way I can get hooked on this, right? So what happens here? It's our body telling us that we're doing something we shouldn't be doing. And if there isn't a clearer sign than that, then what is, right? So the reality isn't that the taste changes so much, but our perception does. And you can actually use this analogy of a man that works in a pig pen that cleans up shit all day long. Okay, the guy might become used to smelling the pig shit, like cleaning the pig pen. But that doesn't mean the smell went away, right? Because his wife is surely going to remind him when he comes home, hey, dude, you smell like shit, right? So I used to pride myself on like drinking someone under the table, right? Or just taking shots with no chaser. And it's literally just like perspective at this point. We also have the belief that alcohol gives us courage, right? So most people that become addicts are strong-willed people, again, where if you deprive yourself of alcohol, it's actually the strong-willed person who's more likely to get what they want. So again, right, the belief that it gives us courage, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dutch courage, but this is kind of where like the Dutch soldiers would take alcohol before they went to battle, because at heart they were cowards. They really couldn't face the problems that they were dealing in real life, so they had to black out their consciousness and lower their inhibitions, right? And what does that do? Do you guys, so like inhibitions are literally what help us survive, okay? So if you strip away the inhibitions that help you survive, does that make you courageous, or does that just remove fear? And is that a dumb play on your survival? So we're going to get into that in a second. A lot of people think that, hey man, I couldn't go up and talk to that girl or go up and talk to that guy that you're attracted to, or you're afraid to speak publicly, right? Or you want to drink alcohol because, man, I'm gonna tell this bully something. I'm gonna call him, you know, so I'm gonna cuss him out or whatever. Like I'm gonna set up a fight or whatever. So we often associate courage with bravery or strength when we need to reframe, guys. We need to reframe this word into fear, right? So we regard fear as something evil, when the reality is that fear is natural and necessary for growth and survival, just like we said. The fear of heights ensures that we take necessary precautions on a ladder. Our fear of fire prevents us from throwing gasoline on an open flame. So does alcohol, again, reduce fear, or does it give you courage? Okay? The ostrich sticks its head in the sand. So Carr uses this analogy of sticking your head in the sand to pretend like all the problems in your life don't exist, okay? When in reality, the ostrich has all the necessary features to get away from danger, to get away from the predators quickly, right? Including high top speeds. It has very strong, powerful legs, yet it deprives itself of these attributes that, you know, life gave it, that it needs to survive. So if you're someone who goes out there to drink and mingle with the opposite sex, you lose the ability to deal with this part of your life, and you're literally just sticking your head in the sand. So before you started drinking, you had to do a lot of things that required courage, and you were able to do them, without alcohol. So next time you do something that requires courage, it's going to be harder for you. You won't be able to do it without that drink. So you're essentially eroding all of your genuine courage that you've built up in life away. Okay? And I mean, what do you see? I gotta ask you, in a drunk person, right? Is a drunk someone who has a lot of courage, guys? Obviously not, right? They're just numbing the pain and they're burying their head in the sand or drowning out the noise, which isn't a solution. It's actually the problem, which itself is a self-perpetuating problem. And they're also turning molehills into mountains, because anything that you bury your head in the sand that requires attention, it grows. The problems just literally grow. They don't disappear. Another myth is that people drink to have a good time at parties, right? Just so that all the guests can get past, the embarrassing stage. I pass out alcohol, just so that we can all loosen up and have a good time, right? Where everyone has to walk around and introduce themselves shy, and instead remove those inhibitions by taking alcohol. Or when you're at a work event and you end up doing something dumb or embarrassing that's going to cost you a relationship, or it could cost you your job, okay? These are the consequences of literally lowering your inhibitions, right? And then you say, I can't remember. I must have had a great time last night, man, because I can hardly remember what happened. What did I do? Did I do anything crazy? Did I do anything embarrassing? How the hell are you going to have a good time? How does that alcohol make you have a good time if you can't even remember what happened, right? I used to always get drunk during weddings or parties and just realize, how am I actually enjoying myself if I don't remember what happened, or if I just get obliterated, or if I'm out of my consciousness? Like, what am I running away from? You know what I mean? So another myth that we're going to dispel is alcohol steadies my nerves. I didn't really relate to this one that much, but maybe some people do. Like, if we feel hot and sweaty, we take a cool shower, right? Or we jump in a cool pool, right? If we feel sticky or dirty and gross, we run a bath, right? We wash our body with soap and then we dry off, right? So in life, we feel an aggravation, we remove it. Okay, that's the illusion of relief. Okay, the fact is that alcohol does not remove anything. If anything, it makes it worse, because now your problem isn't solved when the alcohol wears off, and you're more likely to be tired and hungover and aggravated than when you decided to take that alcohol instead of using our common sense to remove the aggravation, right? Hope that's making sense for you guys. So Carr's definition of drug addiction is that doing something repeatedly that we wish we didn't have to do, or we can do less of. No one actually wishes that they could drink more. I've never heard somebody say, dude, I wish I could just down a freaking fifth of Jack Daniels and follow that up with a fifth of Hennessy and follow that up with something of Amsterdam's, right? No one wishes that they could drink more. It's usually the other way around. They wish they could do less or just quit completely, right? I mean, think about a hobby, guys. When you're in a flow state, like you're playing basketball, or maybe you box, or maybe you just like to fish, reading, all that stuff, you feel aligned. You're in alignment with your purpose in life, okay? And when you're not doing the hobby, you aren't necessarily going through withdrawals, or you're not fearing and it's conquering your mind that you're going to be deprived of this hobby for life. Like, oh man, I'm just never going to be able to play basketball again, right? Now, when you're taking a drug, on the other hand, if you can't go a Saturday night or on a holiday without your drug, alcohol, sugar, nicotine, whatever it is, then you're already dependent on the drug. Okay, so Carr says that the drug brainwashes us so that you feel incompetent without it. So there's some kind of inherent void or something missing within us. That's how the drug makes you feel. That there isn't a single thing pleasant about the taste, but that it's the ingenious trap of the trap, because you have no fear that you're going to become addicted. Remember what we were talking about? It just tastes so bad. There's just no way that I can continue on drinking this, my entire life. You'll never see yourself doing that. So how could I possibly become addicted to something so foul tasting and smelling, right? This is the trap, like literally, guys. It's just blowing my mind the more and more I talk about it, because I've used this method in so many different ways. It's just such a powerful way to remove the programming, right? And so when you look at what we just talked about, it's the ingestion of the drug that creates the urge. And then once the urge dissipates, the ingestion again gives you the illusion that it's relieving something or filling a void where the drug actually created the void to begin with. Because you put your solace in an external, into something outside of self, right? Man, that's a key part right there, guys. So the more you take the drug, the more you need of it. When you first started taking alcohol, it only took about 1 or 2 sips, okay? The more you took, the more our bodies become accustomed to it, and adaptation takes place. Now you need more and more, and the cycle grows in order to have the same effect that you once knew. And we're all brainwashed to believe that drugs are really hard to quit, and that when we quit, we fear that we're going to go through this crazy deprivation, pain, pleasure, and withdrawal, where Carr does say deprivation and pleasure is real, and you only feel the next day of the hangover, which is when the alcohol actually leaves your system. So the only feeling that we actually feel from stopping taking alcohol, most of it actually subsides in our sleep when we're too drunk to even feel it, okay? This is known as the little monster. And I need you guys to really capture this in your imaginations, like right now. The little monster is the physical addiction to the drug. Simple and plain. It's that little annoying withdrawal pang that just pops in your mind and makes you say, hey man, a little bit of this would be nice right about now, okay? This is the imperceptible feeling of the drug leaving the body. The worst part of the withdrawal typically happens in our sleep, again. So we spend the next bit of time without it in our system just fine. So like once the hangover's gone, that's it, dude. The little monster lasts for about 3 to 5 days at most, okay? But reintroducing the drug into our body again is kind of what keeps us in that cycle. And then we have the big monster. This is the mental brainwashing that there's a benefit to the drug. This is the one that we have to focus on. We must eradicate the brainwashing from the mind. This is the edgy feeling that we get when we're without a drink is, it's merely the little monster wanting to be fed. The little monster was created by drinking in the first place, okay? And the brainwashing planted the seed. We also have the myth of the addictive personality. So there's a myth that there's a genetic flaw or predisposition around addiction, but we create cognitive dissonance between being strong-willed and an addict. So the only people that say they have an addictive personality, it's funny because I used to say this as well. These are the people that are addicted to a drug currently, or have been addicted to a drug in the past. You never hear this from someone who's not addicted to something. Like, they're just likely taking a highly addictive drug and just using it as an excuse. Oh yeah, I have an addictive personality. Used to do it all the time. What about the person that, I only drink at parties or in a bar socially? So one of the biggest fears is that once they cut down or cut out the alcohol, they're going to have to fill a big void in their life that they're going to feel. Or they won't be able to attend these events that they think they love so much where they serve alcohol at, right? So again, here goes the idea of sacrifice. On the flip side to that, Alan's wife, I think her name was Joyce, she was not a drinker, yet she would still go out to these events with Alan Carr and his friends. And his friends would accuse her of being antisocial because she wasn't drinking with them. But really, she was being extremely social, right? And respectful, guys, because she was being present mentally with his friends and choosing not to be mentally gone, okay? So when you're spending time with friends and you guys are just getting blasted, literally obliterated, blacked out, you're not really enjoying each other's presence and what you have to offer from what you were put on earth to offer someone else, okay? And that's a sober mind, a really intellectual conversation. Instead, you guys are interweaving these trauma bonds and low frequency behaviors. So in fact, at these events that she would go to, his friends would be actually the ones being antisocial because they'd be doing some highly intoxicated shit to the point to where no one wanted to be around them, okay? I drink to have a good time, or I drink to be happy. This is a sad one. It really is. And I know a couple of people that they kind of believe in this, right? When in reality, alcohol is the number one thing that leads to unhappiness. It really is. And it's going to be hard to convince alcoholics that drinking doesn't make them happy. I mean, how could it not make me happy if it doesn't taste good? I don't control my behavior. It's devastation to my life, to my health. It has to make me happy. Why else would I be taking it, right? When in truth, it's the events, like it's the being at the party, it's the being together with your friends. It's not the alcohol that's making you happy. And I want you guys to think about what I'm about to say. People go to funerals and they drown their sorrows. So this excuse for drinking to have a good time is gone. It's eliminated just like that. So we're moving on. Here's an experiment I want you guys to do. If alcohol truly makes you happy, if you truly believe like it's the life of the party, I need you to do this. Go find your favorite drink, type of alcoholic beverage, whatever it is. Okay, the Henny, the Douce, you know what I'm saying, the lime and the coconut. Go ahead and grab it. Go find a room. Lock yourself in a bedroom to where people ain't going to mess with you. I need you to sit down in that room by yourself with your favorite drink in your hand, pop it open, and drink it. Now, while you drink it, allow the alcohol to just sit in your mouth. Swish it around and ask yourself, do I truly enjoy the taste? But don't ask your friends and don't be on social media. Leave the phone outside and take the TV and unplug it from the wall too. Okay? Just you, just the alcohol. Ask yourself, how does it taste? And let's alchemize the word taste and turn that word into state. Do you enjoy that state, that being, right? Ask yourself if you would want to spend the rest of your life in that fog that you're getting ready to experience. Okay, so if you take alcohol for any of these reasons, you are absolutely hooked and completely dependent on this drug. If you go to a party, observe the drinkers and the non-drinkers and see who's actually enjoying their time. I mean, truly. Observe your behavior in these situations as well, right? If you are dependent on this drug, you're playing a very dangerous game. So the next question, guys, is do I quit forever or do I cut down? I'm sorry. Do I quit forever or do I cut down? You know, they're stuck in this nightmare of administering themselves with this poison, but they also seem powerless to stop doing it. You have to stop thinking I can never have another drink. Like, you have to get that out of your mind. Like, oh my God, I'm dreading. I just can never have a drink. It's the stories we tell ourselves. Don't tell yourself that story. Instead, replace that thinking with how wonderful it's going to be when I stop poisoning myself, right? So if you decided you're going to cut down, you're going to see some improvements. You're going to be more healthy and have more money in the bank, a little more clarity in life overall. However, the downside to this is that it makes it more dangerous because the warning signs won't be as strong and it'll actually become harder for you guys to quit because the warning signs won't be as strong. It's going to be harder to realize how deep you've slid down the pitcher plant. I know you guys, some of you guys might be on here, you might be thinking, dude, what about those lucky ass normal drinkers that get to do it so easily? What about those people that can, you know, they can just drink and it appears that they have great control over this, right? So what Carr is saying is that 90% of the population has fallen into the trap, the pitcher plant. And he can't fight the fact that it is normal for 90% of the people to be in that trap. But it's definitely not lucky. It does not make them lucky. So think of it this way. Just because 90% of the people are in this pitcher plant, do you envy them because they're not at the bottom of the pitcher plant and they're just somewhere in between the top and the bottom on the slope? Or do you rejoice because you've truly escaped the trap completely and regained complete clarity and complete control over your life and over your decisions? How to make it easy to quit. This is the escape. This is the freedom. Literally taking logic and reason and reasoning your beliefs to the ground. And so once you guys realize that you can cope without alcohol, you're going to feel elated to know that you can show up without the need for alcohol. So he talks about turning molehills into mountains, which is small problems into big problems. We talked about that as well. And so once we destroy all of the excuses that we told ourselves, we can take back control. We no longer have the desire to drink. We remove all illusions and programming to alcohol. We have just become disillusioned, right? You need to remember that all the reasons that AA and Willpower try to scare you to stop drinking or vow that you'll never drink again, just decide to be free right now. Like, this is your eureka moment. So at this point in the book, he really talks about the moment to become free is like right now, that you can make that decision to become free now and start with excitement and elation. Like, yippee, I'm free. So be elated, man. It works, dude. I promise. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds corny. Every time I even thought, like, man, like, dude, am I good? Am I good? Like, I'd be like, all right, I'm free, dude. I'm free. I ain't even got to worry about it. I'm literally free, dude. I've taken back control of my life. So if you're ready and you feel like, man, this might be my eureka moment, and I hope it is, but I know the reality. I had to read the book 2-3 times for it to kick in. I need you guys to follow these instructions if you feel like you're ready to take this next step. The first instruction is, don't think that I can't have another drink. Instead, think, thank God I'm free and I no longer have to take this devastation, right? The second thing is, don't avoid thinking about the fact that you no longer drink. Like, don't try to not think about that. So if you think proactively, like, yes, my life is no longer dominated by alcohol, then you can actually enjoy it. Like, it's not hard at all. It's like unbelievably easy if you just decide. You just have to decide. So there's going to be a few days that you may feel like, that you want it. Don't wait to become a non-drinker. You're one from the start. Like, once you decide and you make that decision, you are a non-drinker. You can shift that identity, okay? And this is the power of programming, but it takes a little bit of, willingness. Like, you just gotta decide. The fifth instruction is, you are in control of the craving, where before the craving controlled you. Again, guys, we reasoned the beliefs to the ground. They have nowhere to go. They're demolished. It's a wrap. Don't mourn. Like, if someone passes away, don't be afraid to mourn, rather, right? You have to go through grieving process. It's a normal process, and it's very healthy to grieve and go through this process. And this one really hits home for me, guys, because when I dealt with mourning, even my old self, like my old habits, I would kind of feel sad about some of the things that I feel like I wouldn't been able to enjoy. And so we're gonna come into this next instruction here and talk about that a little bit. But I had to deal with a lot of stress and a lot of things that I put on the back burner by drinking myself under the table every day, and not just dealing with my problems like a man, like straight up just dealing with my problems. I would just drink them away. And so when you do stop drinking, there could be a time, and I'm just going to be honest with you guys, there could be a time where you're going to have to deal with a lot of decisions that you made in the past, like mentally, you know what I mean? And I'm here for you. Like, I got the program, and all this stuff is free. I'm not charging anything, guys. In the Skool community, it's in the description below. You need a community, man. Like, it's not easy. Like, when you quit, it's easy. Like, quitting is the easy part. Like, literally reading the book. Just read the book, guys. Like, it's easy to quit. You don't have to think it's hard or you're gonna suffer this terrible withdrawal. I swear you're not. Like, just read the book as many times as possible and you guys will quit. You will succeed. I know you will. If I can do it, you can do it, for real. The hard part is like 3 months, 6 months down the line where you realize, like, dang, dude, I did a lot of messed up stuff, like, I did a lot of messed up stuff. And so I got programs for that to help you as men, as women, to cope with these feelings and emotions that are gonna, they're gonna need to be rectified at some point, right? So don't alter your life because you quit drinking, right? So I was talking about how maybe I couldn't be friends with certain people because I don't drink, or maybe they're trauma bonds or something like that, right? But carry on and do the things you've always enjoyed. You're free now. Like, you don't have to worry about falling back into a trap, because just like any illusion, the pictures of the tables that look a certain way, you'll no longer fall into that trap. resist the temptation to recruit friends. So they're gonna resent you for calling them out. I mean, let's just be real. You guys might be ready to ingest this message, and if my content does a good job and my algorithm picks up, it might touch some of you guys who are, currently looking for a change in your life. But try to resist the temptation to recruit friends and just have them wondering, like, dude, how did you stop drinking? They're gonna think you're like a superhuman or something, right? Unless they're ready, like, don't even try it. Okay. Don't use substitutes. Like, that's just insanity. Why would you replace the same drug with another drug that's the same thing, that if it's not available, you're just going to go do the same thing from the jump, right? So when you actually use substitutes, so let's go a little bit deeper into the subconscious here. When you use substitutes, you are subconsciously telling yourself that you have made a sacrifice. That's why you didn't want to stop, right? But you do. So you haven't, in fact, and you've actually have everything to gain. You're not making a sacrifice. You're gaining your life back. You're gaining your freedom back, your clarity, your control, right? So number 10, enjoy breaking false associations. Like, man, I need alcohol to have fun. I need alcohol for this. Like, enjoy breaking that shit, guys. Number 11, never envy drinkers. This is a weird one because I could never see myself envying drinkers. But hey, nonetheless, it is a part of the instructions here. The people getting lit and blacking out and getting turned and they're making the ultimate sacrifice, guys. They're sacrificing their health, their wealth, their sanity. The drinkers are going to envy you, okay? You guys are literally going to be the heroes. All right. Questions, let me know. Pop over to the Skool channel. I'm active in there. I'm growing this community. I think I got like 12 members right now, which I'm actually pretty proud of. I'm glad. If I could help one person, that's enough for me, baby. Let's get it.